In a world where appearances can be deceiving, the ability to navigate through the chaos requires one to go against their own instincts. Ancient wisdom has long taught us that human behavior, when viewed on the surface, is often misleading. What if we told you that understanding and acting contrary to your initial reactions could bring you unparalleled success? This article will unravel the timeless lessons from ancient philosophy, revealing the hidden truths about human nature and how mastering the art of contradiction leads to true victory. The journey ahead will challenge the way you think about your emotions, reactions, and desires. By the end of this article, you'll have gained the tools to rise above the majority, to see through the veils of deception in the world around you, and to thrive in ways that most people can't even fathom. But first, let's delve into how these principles work. Chapter 1: Understanding the Opposite Truth. In today's fast-paced society, nothing is as it seems. People speak one thing but mean another, and their actions can be directly opposite to their words. This contradiction is at the heart of understanding human nature and finding true success. The first lesson of ancient wisdom is that when someone says, "I don't care," they often mean they care deeply. Similarly, when someone acts indifferent, it may be a cover for an internal emotional storm. Ancient strategists knew this well. They observed that controlling one's outward appearance was essential to success, and understanding the truth beneath others' actions was even more critical. By thinking contrary to what is presented, you begin to tap into a deeper layer of perception. This is the essence of mastering human interactions. Modern example: social media and false appearances. In the age of social media, this principle is clearer than ever. Influencers may flaunt luxury and happiness, but behind the scenes, their lives can be far from perfect. A curated image is often the opposite of reality. Understanding this, one can learn not to be swayed by outward displays but instead focus on the unseen truths behind actions and words. Expanding creatively on this idea, we explore how even the most mundane parts of life, from workplace relationships to personal friendships, operate on this principle of contradiction. Chapter 2: The Two-Faced Nature of Society. From the wisdom of Confucian ethics to the cunning of military strategist Sun Tzu, societies have long operated on a dual system. One face is shown to the public, words of morality, honor, and virtue, while another, the hidden side, drives real actions motivated by personal interest and power. Historical example: the double standards of ancient politics. In ancient courts, kings and ministers would publicly espouse loyalty and righteousness while secretly plotting for personal gain. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of deception in warfare, recognizing that those who succeed understand when to show one face and when to act in complete opposition. This practice is not exclusive to the past but continues in modern political and corporate environments, where individuals project an image of goodwill while maneuvering for personal gain. We explore these dualities further with historical anecdotes and philosophical analysis, showing how understanding these two faces of society is crucial for personal success. This approach keeps the structure engaging, while adding depth and breadth to the initial concepts. Moving forward, I would continue blending original ideas with expanded interpretations, examples from history, current events, and practical applications, as well as delving into philosophical analysis. Each chapter will include detailed sections explaining the application of ancient wisdom in modern contexts, ensuring the content remains both educational and captivating. Chapter 3: The Power of Perception, Seeing Beyond the Obvious. One of the most profound lessons in ancient philosophy is the importance of perception. Those who succeed in life are often not the smartest, strongest, or even the most ambitious. They are the ones who can see beyond the surface. Perception is the ability to discern the truth beneath layers of illusion, and it is a skill that must be honed to perfection. In Confucian thought, there is a concept called rectification of names, which means things should be understood for what they truly are, not what they appear to be. If you can master this skill of seeing beyond the obvious, you will immediately gain an advantage over the vast majority of people who take things at face value. Practical example: the corporate world. Consider the corporate environment. In many companies, employees compete for promotions, often showing their best selves to superiors while undermining colleagues behind the scenes. A perceptive individual can quickly identify who genuinely holds influence and who only appears to. This understanding allows them to navigate office politics effectively, building relationships with the right people and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. Understanding perception is more than just seeing through deceit, it's about identifying opportunities where others see none. A skilled leader, for example, might recognize potential in an employee others have overlooked, or see market trends that competitors fail to notice. By developing this ability, you can position yourself to not only avoid being misled but also to capitalize on opportunities that others miss. Chapter 4: The Art of Reverse Thinking, Turning Negatives into Positives. In mathematics, the principle of two negatives making a positive holds true, and this concept can be applied to everyday life. Ancient philosophers believed that when you face adversity, you should not simply resist it but use its momentum to your advantage. Reverse thinking, or what we can call thinking against the grain, is a mental strategy that allows you to view problems not as obstacles but as opportunities. If you can train your mind to flip every negative situation into a potential positive, you will possess a unique and powerful mindset. Example: failures as stepping stones. Many successful people in history have attributed their greatest achievements to their failures. Thomas Edison, after countless attempts to invent the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His ability to turn failure into a learning process led to one of the most significant inventions in modern history. This is the power of reverse thinking, seeing opportunity in failure. Psychologists have found that people who practice reverse thinking tend to have higher levels of resilience and optimism. When faced with rejection or hardship, instead of feeling defeated, they are more likely to see the experience as a lesson and move forward stronger. This is a mental muscle that can be built over time, and it is one of the key factors separating those who thrive from those who stagnate. To elaborate further, let's look at how reverse thinking plays a critical role in emotional intelligence. Rather than reacting impulsively to negative situations, emotionally intelligent people pause and reframe their thoughts, often seeing how they can benefit from the experience rather than being weighed down by it. By cultivating this mindset, you can transform any difficult situation into a potential triumph. Chapter 5: Silence and Strategy, the Hidden Strength of Restraint. One of the most overlooked strategies in both ancient and modern wisdom is the power of silence. In many cultures, silence is seen as a sign of wisdom. Laozi, the ancient Chinese philosopher, emphasized that true strength often lies in quietness. In warfare, diplomacy, and personal relationships, those who hold their tongue and observe carefully are often the ones who hold the greatest power. In a world full of noise, where everyone is quick to voice their opinions, there is immense strength in silence. Those who speak less and listen more can gather information, understand the dynamics of a situation, and strategize effectively. Silence, when used wisely, can be a form of action. Historical example: the strategy of Sun Tzu. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu highlights the importance of silence and invisibility in battle. He states, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." This principle applies not only in war but in every area of life. If you reveal too much too soon, you lose the element of surprise. In business, silence can be the key to successful negotiations. In relationships, it can lead to deeper understanding and empathy. Personal application: the value of patience. In personal interactions, practicing silence can often reveal more about a person than speaking. When you give someone room to express themselves without interruption, they tend to reveal their true intentions. This allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. In our fast-paced world, patience and restraint are rare but powerful traits. Imagine a situation where you've been provoked, and instead of reacting in anger, you pause and remain silent. This shift in dynamics often disarms the other person, allowing you to regain control of the situation. Mastering the art of silence means mastering the art of self-control. Chapter 6: The value of going against the grain: why defying convention leads to success. Most people follow the path that is expected of them. They go to school, get a job, and follow the social norms laid out by previous generations. However, the greatest innovations and breakthroughs in history came from individuals who dared to defy the status quo. From Galileo to Steve Jobs, those who succeeded in revolutionizing their fields did so by rejecting the traditional ways of thinking. Defying convention requires courage, but it is also the key to unlocking your true potential. By challenging what is accepted as normal or right, you force yourself to think creatively, to solve problems in ways that others cannot. Case study: Steve Jobs and Apple. Steve Jobs revolutionized multiple industries by going against conventional wisdom. In an era when computers were seen as tools for businesses, Jobs imagined them as personal devices for everyone. His unconventional thinking not only created a new industry but also transformed the way the world interacts with technology. Creative expansion: thinking like an outsider. When you step outside of societal norms, you begin to see the world from a different perspective. Outsider thinking has given rise to some of the most significant social, technological, and philosophical advancements in human history. Creative problem-solving, innovation, and personal growth often come from viewing the world through a lens of contradiction, by deliberately choosing a path less traveled. The lesson here is that success is rarely found by following the crowd. True mastery comes from breaking free of the chains of conventional thought and daring to think independently. Chapter 7: Mastering emotional control: acting against instincts. Emotions are powerful forces that govern much of human behavior. The instinctive response to situations, especially negative ones, is often emotional. Anger, fear, jealousy, and frustration cloud judgment and lead to irrational actions. However, ancient wisdom teaches that true mastery over oneself comes from controlling and acting against these natural emotional instincts. In the Stoic philosophy, emotional control is seen as the highest form of self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors and Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of not reacting emotionally to external events. According to him, it is not the events themselves that disturb us but our interpretations of them. If you can train yourself to act calmly and deliberately in the face of adversity, you will be able to make decisions from a place of clarity and strength. Practical example: dealing with criticism. Imagine being criticized in a work setting. The instinctual response might be to defend yourself immediately or feel hurt. However, by taking a moment to step back, remain calm, and analyze the criticism objectively, you can turn the situation to your advantage. Emotional mastery enables you to extract useful feedback from criticism, improve yourself, and demonstrate resilience. Expanding the concept: emotional intelligence and leadership. Great leaders are not those who are devoid of emotion but those who know how to manage it. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is widely regarded as a key attribute of effective leadership. Leaders who remain composed under pressure, who can empathize with others while keeping their emotions in check, inspire trust and loyalty. They navigate crises with grace, turning challenges into opportunities. In the corporate world, leaders with high EQ are more successful at building strong teams and guiding organizations through turmoil. By practicing emotional restraint and mastering your emotional responses, you gain a unique advantage over those who are ruled by their feelings. This is where you begin to rise above the ordinary. Chapter 8: The Paradox of Control, Letting Go to Gain Power. One of the greatest paradoxes in life is that control often comes through the act of letting go. The more you attempt to dominate or force an outcome, the more it slips from your grasp. Ancient wisdom teaches that true control comes from understanding the flow of events and aligning oneself with them rather than resisting them. Example from Taoism, Wu Wei, effortless action. In Taoism, the concept of Wu Wei, which means effortless action, is central to this idea. Rather than forcing things to happen, one allows them to unfold naturally. By embracing the flow of life and surrendering control over outcomes, you actually gain a deeper sense of influence over your life. This concept can be applied to relationships, business, and personal development. For example, in business negotiations, a person who doesn't appear desperate for a deal often holds more power than someone who is visibly eager to close. By acting as though you are willing to walk away, you create leverage. The other party becomes more interested in securing the deal, and you gain control without needing to force it. Expanding on the concept, the art of delegation in leadership. In leadership, the ability to delegate is a prime example of letting go to gain power. Leaders who try to control every detail of their organization often end up overwhelmed and ineffective. However, those who trust their teams, delegate responsibility, and give their employees autonomy often find that things run more smoothly. By letting go, they empower others and, in turn, strengthen their own position as leaders. This principle extends into personal life as well. Letting go of the need to control every aspect of your surroundings, whether it's how others perceive you or how events unfold, allows you to live with greater freedom and peace. Chapter 9: The Wisdom of the Few, Why Most People Will Never Understand. There is a sobering reality to success. Not everyone will understand or appreciate your journey. Throughout history, those who have achieved greatness have often been misunderstood or even ridiculed by the majority. This is because most people operate within the confines of societal expectations and are uncomfortable with anything that challenges the status quo. Historical example: Socrates and the trial of Athens. Take the example of the Greek philosopher Socrates. His method of questioning the accepted norms of Athenian society made him deeply unpopular with the ruling elites. His refusal to conform to traditional thinking led to his trial and eventual execution. Yet, his legacy lives on as one of the most influential philosophers in Western history. Socrates knew that the majority would resist his ideas, but he remained steadfast in his pursuit of truth. The 1% versus the 99%. In modern terms, this divide between the few and the many is often described as the 1% versus the 99%. The 1% are those who see beyond the illusions of society, who question conventional wisdom, and who strive for greatness. The 99% are content to follow the well-trodden path, resisting change and clinging to comfort. While it may seem lonely to walk the path of the 1%, it is the only way to achieve true fulfillment and success. Most people will not understand your choices, and that's okay. Ancient wisdom teaches that the approval of the majority is often a sign you are on the wrong path. Trust in your journey, even if it goes against the grain. Chapter 10: The Practical Application of Ancient Wisdom in Modern Life. It's one thing to understand these philosophical concepts, but it's another to apply them to everyday life. In this chapter, we'll look at practical ways you can implement the principles of going against human nature to achieve success in modern life. 1. Reverse thinking in decision-making. The next time you're faced with a difficult decision, ask yourself what your immediate instinct is. Then, consciously explore the opposite option. This exercise in reverse thinking can often reveal insights you hadn't considered. It forces you to challenge your biases and question what is truly best in the situation. 2. Emotional control in conflict. In moments of conflict, practice emotional restraint. When you feel anger or frustration rising, take a step back and pause before reacting. This pause can be the difference between escalating a conflict and resolving it peacefully. Over time, you will notice that practicing emotional control becomes second nature, and your relationships, both personal and professional, will improve. 3. Silence as a strategy. Instead of speaking up in every meeting or conversation, try observing and listening more. Silence gives you the power to analyze the dynamics of a situation without revealing your own thoughts too early. By withholding your opinion until the right moment, you can exert greater influence when you do choose to speak. 4. Letting go in business and personal life. Whether you're managing a team or working on a personal goal, recognize when to let go of control. Allow others to take responsibility, and trust that things will unfold as they should. By stepping back, you empower those around you and create a more harmonious environment. Chapter 11: Conclusion: Embracing the Path of Contradiction. As we draw to the close of this exploration into the art of going against human nature, the central message remains clear: success and fulfillment come from acting contrary to our instincts. Whether it's controlling our emotions, thinking in reverse, or embracing silence, the path to mastery is one of deliberate contradiction. Ancient wisdom, drawn from the likes of Confucius, Laozi, and Socrates, shows us that the majority of people live their lives reacting impulsively to the world around them. But those who can pause, reflect, and act against their natural tendencies rise above the ordinary. By applying these principles in your daily life, you too can become part of the 1% who see beyond the surface, who act with clarity and purpose, and who achieve true victory, not just over others but over themselves. Final thoughts: the lesson of self-mastery. Perhaps the greatest lesson of all is that the true battle is within. Victory does not come from conquering others, but from conquering oneself. As you walk this path, you will encounter resistance, both from within and from the world around you. But by holding fast to these ancient principles, you will discover a power greater than any external force, the power to master your own nature. And that, as the ancients knew, is the greatest victory of all.